I talk about going all in a lot on this channel. If you want to learn more about my all-in journey, I'll link some videos in the description below. While going all in as a form of eating disorder recovery has been very effective for me and others, let me just be clear, going all in isn't for everyone. As a side note, it looks like over 80% of you guys watching this video aren't subscribed. If you do like this video, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Also, trigger warning, we're gonna be talking about eating disorders, so if that triggers you, just don't watch this video. To recap, going all in for me is eating what I want, and how much I want, and allowing my body to heal and recovery, and trusting that it will settle at the weight that it is happiest at. So in other words, any form of restriction is out. Well, this has worked for me and it's worked for others. It is not for everyone. For some, this type of eating can be very dangerous and even deadly. This is the result of something called refeeding syndrome or food shock syndrome. While there isn't a universally recognized definition for refeeding syndrome, what we do know is that refeeding syndrome is caused when a malnourished individual receives nutrients, whether orally or intravenously, which causes shifts in electrolytes and fluids, which can actually be fatal. These shifts are caused by hormonal and metabolic changes that occur once refeeding begins. If you want to study and learn more about this syndrome yourself, feel free to check out my references listed below. Refeeding syndrome was first documented during World War II when a number of prisoners of war who'd been subjected to long periods of starvation were first given food again. A number of these individuals experienced some serious conditions, including cardiac failure and death in some cases. It is suggested that even thousands of individuals could have died from refeeding syndrome during this time. So who is at risk for refeeding syndrome? There are a number of factors that could cause someone to be at a high risk for refeeding syndrome, including chronic alcoholism, cancer, or taking chemotherapy drugs. However, of course, in this video, we're going to be talking about refeeding syndrome in the context of eating disorder recovery. One of the main risk factors of someone developing refeeding syndrome is someone who suffered from anorexia, someone who's malnourished, or someone who is a long-term user of diuretics. These are a few criteria that indicate if someone is at high risk for developing refeeding problems. The patient has one or more of the following: body mass index below 16, unintentional weight loss of over 15% of the original body mass, little to no nutritional intake for over 10 days, low levels of potassium, phosphate, or magnesium before feeding. If the patient has two or more of the following: a body mass index less than 18.5, unintentional weight loss of greater than 10% of the person's body mass in the last 3 to 6 months, little or no nutritional intake for greater than 5 days, a history of alcohol misuse or drugs, including insulin, chemotherapy, antacids, or diuretics. So you're at high risk if you meet one of the criteria in that first list that I mentioned, or you're at high risk if you meet two of the criteria in that second list. I'm not going to go into specifics here, but when my anorexia was at its worst, I definitely met a number of those criteria. I lost a significant percentage of my body weight very quickly, and at one point I was also misusing diuretics. However, my all-in journey didn't really start when my anorexia was at its worst. It actually started a while later when I was struggling with binge eating and other things. And I had already regained a lot of weight at this point, and so I wasn't in as much risk for developing refeeding syndrome as I would have been if I'd gone all in when my anorexia was at its worst. While I still advocate for going all in just because it's been so helpful for me, and I know that it has been helpful for other people who are in recovery who've shared their stories with me, it is certainly not for everyone, and I felt the need to address this caveat. Not only is it not for everyone, in some cases it can be very dangerous and life-threatening. By the way, refeeding syndrome isn't just caused by eating a lot of food, like large quantities of food, like you might be thinking from going all in. If someone is chronically malnourished or meet any of those criteria I mentioned above, even increasing your meal plan a little bit can lead to refeeding syndrome. I try to say this in all my videos, but I highly recommend that if anyone's struggling with an eating disorder, that they reach out to a dietitian, medical professional, or a therapist if at all possible. When it comes to being at risk for refeeding syndrome, please talk to a doctor or a dietitian before going all in, or even before increasing your meal plan. If you're going all in or you're increasing your meal plan and you start noticing some of these symptoms, seek help immediately. It's not worth you putting your life and health at risk. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you're struggling with an eating disorder, please reach out if at all possible. You don't deserve to struggle with this alone. I love you guys. I'm wishing you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.